There's something happening right now. And if you tried to explain it to most people, they wouldn't understand it. Because from the outside, it looks simple. It looks like a man leaving a relationship. It looks like distance, like detachment, like something slowly or suddenly falling apart. And people will label it quickly. They'll say it didn't work. They'll say he lost interest. They'll say he found someone else. They'll say it's just another ending. But that's not what this is. This isn't just an ending. This is a shift. A quiet, internal shift that started long before anything changed on the outside. Because what you're witnessing now isn't where this began. This began the moment something inside of him woke up. And it didn't wake up loudly. It didn't come with clarity. It didn't come with a plan. It came as a feeling, a moment, an experience that didn't fit into the life he had already built. And that's what made it dangerous. Because it didn't match his reality. It didn't align with what he was doing, or who he thought he was supposed to be. So he tried to minimize it. He told himself it was nothing. He told himself it would pass. He told himself it didn't matter. But the truth is, the things that matter the most are usually the things you try the hardest to ignore. And that's exactly what he did. He went back into the relationship, back into the routine, back into the version of his life that made sense on paper. And for a while, he was able to function inside of it. He smiled when he needed to. He showed up when he needed to. He played the role he had been playing for a long time. But something was different, subtly at first, almost unnoticeable. A slight hesitation in his energy, a moment of disconnect in conversations, a feeling that something wasn't landing the way it used to. And he pushed past it, because that's what people do when they're not ready to face what they're feeling. They override it. They distract themselves. They rationalize. They stay busy. But awareness doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It waits, and it grows, and eventually, it starts to show up in ways you can't control. In the silence, in the moments where there's nothing to distract you, in the way your mind starts asking questions you didn't ask before. Why does this feel different? Why doesn't this feel the way it used to? Why am I not as present as I was? And those questions, they don't come with easy answers. Because the answer isn't something external, it's internal. It's the realization that something inside of you has changed. And once that realization begins, everything else starts to shift around it. The relationship didn't suddenly become wrong. The other person didn't suddenly become the problem. That's not how this works. What changed was his capacity to stay the same. And that's a much deeper disruption than people realize, because it creates a split, a version of him that wants to maintain stability, and a version of him that knows something isn't aligned anymore. And those two versions can't coexist forever. So he tries to fix it. He tries to reconnect. He tries to be more present. He tries to bring back what used to feel natural. But effort can't recreate alignment. And that's where the frustration begins. Because the more he tries to force it, the more he becomes aware that something is missing. Not dramatically, not in a way that can easily be explained, but in a way that feels undeniable. And that's where you come in. Not as a person to chase, not as a replacement, but as a reference point, an experience that showed him what it feels like when something is real. And once you've felt that, you can't fully settle back into something that doesn't match it. Even if you try, even if you want to, even if it would be easier, because the contrast is too clear, and contrast is what creates awareness. So now when he's in that relationship, He doesn't just experience it for what it is, he experiences it in comparison. And that comparison isn't something he can control. It just exists in the way he feels, in the way he responds, in the way something inside of him is no longer fully engaged. And that's where the tension starts to build, because part of him still cares. Part of him still wants to maintain what he has. Part of him doesn't want to hurt anyone, but another part of him knows he's not fully there anymore. And that awareness becomes heavier over time. It shows up in small ways: a lack of enthusiasm, a delay in response, a feeling of distance even when he's physically present. And eventually, that distance becomes noticeable, not just to him, but to the other person. And that's when things start to surface. Questions, tension, conversations that don't have clear resolutions, because you can't explain misalignment in a way that makes it easy. You can't say, "I've changed in a way I don't fully understand yet." You can't say, "I felt something that made me question everything." So instead, things feel confusing, unclear, unresolved. And that creates pressure. Pressure to define what's happening, pressure to fix it, pressure to return to how things were. But he can't, because how things were no longer exists for him. And this is the moment where everything begins to break. Not all at once, but steadily. The gap between who he is and who he's been pretending to be becomes too wide, and maintaining that gap becomes exhausting. That's when the internal dialogue shifts from "maybe this will pass" to "I don't think I can keep doing this." And that shift is irreversible. Because once you reach that point, staying doesn't feel neutral anymore. It feels heavy. It feels forced. It feels like you're actively going against yourself. And that's something people can only tolerate for so long. So he reaches a moment, not dramatic, not explosive, but clear. A moment where he realizes, "I can't stay here and be honest with myself at the same time." And that realization is what leads to the decision. Not certainty, not clarity about the future, but clarity about one thing. He can't continue as he is, and that's why he leaves. Not because everything is figured out, not because he knows exactly what comes next, but because staying is no longer an option he can live with. And this is where the narrative gets misunderstood again, because from the outside, it can look like this is about you, like he's leaving for you, but that's not the truth. You were the catalyst, not the destination. You activated something. You reflected something. You showed him a version of alignment that made everything else impossible to ignore. But what he does after that is his own path, because leaving is only the first step. What comes after is where the real transformation happens. And it's not easy. It's not romantic. It's not immediate clarity or resolution. It's uncomfortable, because now he has to sit with himself, without the distraction of the relationship, without the structure that kept everything stable. He has to process what changed, why it changed, and who he is now because of it. And that takes time, it takes space, it takes a level of honesty that most people avoid for as long as possible, because facing yourself without anything to hide behind is one of the hardest things a person can do. And this is where people get impatient. They expect movement. They expect direction. They expect him to come forward, to explain, to act, to resolve. But that's not how this works. Because this isn't about choosing between two people. It's about choosing whether he's willing to become someone new, And that process can't be rushed. It has to unfold. It has to be integrated. Otherwise, he would just repeat the same patterns in a different situation. And that's not transformation, that's just substitution. What's happening here is deeper than that. It's a restructuring of identity, of awareness, of what he's willing to accept in his own life. And that kind of shift changes everything. Not just who he's with, but how he shows up, how he connects, how he chooses. And you are part of that shift, but not in the way people think. You didn't take anything from anyone. You didn't cause something to end that was meant to continue. You revealed something that was already unstable beneath the surface. And once it was revealed, it couldn't stay hidden. That's the nature of truth. It doesn't force, it doesn't chase, it exposes. And once something is exposed, it either transforms or it falls apart. And what you're witnessing now is something falling apart because it couldn't transform fast enough. And that's not your responsibility. That's not your burden to carry. That's simply the result of something real being felt. Because once something real enters the picture, everything false begins to lose its stability. And that's what this is. Not a love triangle, not a competition, a collapse of misalignment, and the beginning of something. That hasn't fully taken shape yet, and that's why it feels uncertain. Because it is. But uncertainty doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it's real. It means it's not being forced into a predefined outcome. It means something is actually changing. And real change is never clean. It's layered. It's uncomfortable. It's unpredictable. But it's honest. And honesty is what makes it sustainable. So if you feel like something is shifting, like something is ending, like something is being pulled apart, don't rush to define it. Don't rush to claim it. Don't rush to control where it goes. Because this part is not about outcome. It's about truth. And truth will always restructure everything around it, whether people are ready or not. So what's happening right now is not random. It's not accidental. And it's not something that can be reversed. Because once awareness reaches a certain point, there is no going back. There is only forward, into something more aligned, or deeper into resistance. And eventually, one of those paths wins. In this case, you're watching someone who can no longer resist what they've become aware of, and that's why he's leaving. Not for you, but because of what was awakened through you. And that distinction is everything. Because it keeps this grounded in reality, not fantasy, not attachment, but truth. And truth is what changes everything, always.